Well, hello, everybody. It is the DNA Show's movie review for you on this Friday. Last night, guys, Dennis and I bit the bullet. We went and saw Madam Webb. And you know how we do our reviews. We do non-spoiler up front, show the graphic, give you a few seconds to bow out if you don't want to hear any spoilers, and then we talk spoilers. So let's dive in, Dennis. Uh, okay.
This movie is about Cassandra Webb. She's a New York paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance. Forced to challenge revelations about her former, she needs to safeguard three young women from a deadly adversary who wants them destroyed.
Ooh, and it stars Dakota Johnson, who, you know, looks. Let's talk about the positives in the movie. Dakota
Yeah,
Johnson is a pretty actress.
she does. She's got beautiful blue eyes. Sydney Sweeney, she's today's younger modern sex symbol. They dressed her up in a schoolgirl outfit. And Adam Scott. Adam Scott was what little bit he was in this movie. He was great. Although they gave
Yes,
him no comedic things to use his chops on, he was a standout in this movie.
he was. All right, let's rate it because that's about the good things. So
Yeah. Guys, we if you watched our show on Wednesday with Pete Sametti, we for the first time ever gave our pre-thoughts of this movie and we reviewed it. I thought it would probably be a 4.0. I was hoping for.
no, you already forgot. You said 3.5.
Oh, did I drop it? Okay, 3.5. And I was hoping for something that would be okay. The trailer looked not good, but that doesn't mean just because there's a bad trailer, you're not going to have a good movie. I was way off. Guys, I am so far off on this one. I'm giving it a 1.5. This was the absolute worst superhero movie I have ever seen in my life. And boy, do we got a lot to talk about in the spoiler section.
I predicted I would give it a 5.5. My rating is dropped down 2 as well. I what did you gave it a what? A 1.5?
1.5, which now
Yeah.
puts it well above Green Lantern. That was my worst superhero movie ever.
Yeah, I'm not that low, but I'm not super high. I'll give it a 2.5 because we rate out of 10. So 2.5 is pretty garbage as well. Um, and look, my 20-year-old daughter went, she liked it. I think as you grow and see more stuff, you uh, and learn, you just see more when you take things apart. Um, so, with that being said, it is the spoiler time. It is the spoiler time. Hello. This is where we talk spoilers if you don't want to know them. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share, and go sign up for Kor-Drath the Awakening, the continuing Kor-Drath saga. Link in the description below. Thank you very much. One thing they did probably should, well, we didn't want to spoil it, but I will say I thought this was cool. Adam Scott's character, who is the partner of Dakota Johnson's, Cassidy Webb. This movie takes place in 2003. And at first I was like, why does this take place in 2003? Well, guess what? Adam Scott's character's name is Ben Parker. That's right. Sony has now introduced young 2003 Uncle Ben, but wait, there's more. They also introduced his sister, Mary, who is Peter's mom, and she's pregnant in the movie and eventually gives birth to Peter.
But yes, but you can't use any names. They made sure to be incredibly vague about it. And again, Mary is played by Emma Roberts. Another actress, you're like, yes, oh my God, they got a great actress to play Mary. I mean, Adam Scott, Emma Roberts, and this is where I think there were rumors out there that there was an entire movie built around the fact that this was going to be the definitive Spider-Man movie. They were going to pinpoint and everything towards it. And everything was coming together for this movie. That's why they got Adam Scott and Emma Roberts and Dakota Johnson signed on and Sydney Sweeney signed on. They got everybody. And then after everybody got signed on, they're like, oh yeah, we can't do that, we're told. So here's your new script. And everybody went, this isn't even a script. And yeah, I literally think that's what happened, because there were so many plot holes, so many points of characterization that were wrong, inaccurate, just plain not even remotely delving into anything.
One of the things we'll touch on that just drove me absolutely crazy is, we know the villain is this guy Ezekiel. Ezekiel was in the Amazon back in 1973 with Dakota Johnson's mom, who was 9 months pregnant at the time and looking for this specific spider, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, fast forward to 2003. The mom died in childbirth, so Dakota Johnson grew up foster homes, whatever. Ezekiel, though, is basically, he's been having these dreams every night, and he sees these three faces in his dreams, and it's, Sydney Sweeney and the two other girls that become Spider Girl, I guess Spider Woman, and Arachna. And so he wants to track him down. Well, we'll get into some of that, but I'm just jumping ahead. The dude wears a super suit, which is fine. And it's like a Spider-Man S-type suit. But the thing that gives it away for that is, I cannot believe they did this. This movie takes place in 2003. Peter Parker is not even born yet till the end of this movie. And the suit that this dude wears, Ezekiel, has eyes in a very similar shape on his mask to Spider-Man's. And that drove me crazy, because going by what we've established, Tony Stark actually made the costume for Peter Parker, right? He upgraded it, because when you first meet him in the movies, the MCU movies, he's wearing basically the hoodie and whatnot. And he did have eyes on the mask, but point is, what? That's just too much of a coincidence that this villain from 2003, the year Peter Parker's born, that, spoiler alert, dies at the end of this movie, happened to wear a mask that had eyes just like that. Come on. That drove me absolutely batshit crazy.
Yes, why put Spider-Man-ish in Spider-Man-less movies? And that's the problem with all of these movies that they are working in the Spider-Verse with, but actually not delving into anything to do with Spider-Man, and they are having to mask and hide stuff. So guys, the entire premise of that is stupid. Here was the point. The premise of what it could be with Madam Web, if they stuck to any type of source material, Madam Web is a pretty cool character. The one other little positive in there, when she used her, abilities, and you can see like this cool web thing forming and how she can use it, that was kind of a neat little thing. There's the other highlight in the movie. Seriously though, I don't even know what to say. It was so bad. This was not meant to be a funny movie, but I chuckled out loud throughout this movie, because there were some movies where movies are so bad that they're good. And I was thinking maybe that's what this is going to be as it started. No, this was just so bad. It was a train wreck. There was nothing positive to pull from it, other than there were bits of Dakota Johnson's dialogue where I think she ad-libbed, like, oh, did she just flip off?
Well, let's just talk more about it and give actual reasons why. There's just things they did in the movie that, if you have a brain, would make no sense. One of them, so Dakota Johnson, Madam Web, she can start seeing glimpses of the future, blah, blah, blah. So she sees that these girls are in trouble on a subway because this Ezekiel guy You don't know how he got all his money, but he's a Mac Daddy 30 years later, and apparently the spider power that he has, besides being able to bounce around and stuff like Spider-Man, there's no web shooters, but he can bounce around and move like him. He he apparently slows his aging, because this guy had to be 30 something in 1973. 30 years later, he's 60 something. He looked pretty good. Anyhow, they don't really explain it. Point is, he builds this computer system that he jacked from the NSA that hacks into every security camera. So he's looking for these girls, and he assumes they're in New York. I mean, that's our thing. He just assumes they're in New York. He doesn't know that because he has these visions of them, the three girls in their costumes fighting him and killing, and he ends up dying, but he wakes up right before he dies. So he just assumes these girls have to be in New York City. Why? Okay, so that's a problem. And then so he builds this thing, and then the actress that is playing the part of like the tech nerd, you'd recognize her. Not worth going into her name, but you'd recognize her from other movies. Is scouring the city, finds him on the subway. Okay, so long story short, it's just this big coincidence. These three girls that don't know each other at all end up on the subway at the same time. Now, Madam Webb gets there because she can see what, in these glimpses of the future. So that's what gets her there. Okay, so she saves the girls. She steals a taxi. This is an issue I have. She steals the taxi to get the girls to a safe place. So she drives to the woods, right? Outside of, I guess, of New York somewhere. She drives into Jersey to this wooded area and have this little conversation. And she goes, look, I'll be back in 3 hours, because she wants to go back to her apartment, look through, because she has all her mom's notebooks and notes from 1973. And she wants to do some research. So she tells these three girls to stay in the woods. But correct me if I'm wrong, they never established how would she know, Dakota Johnson, Madam Webb, know that the bad guy here is using cameras to track him?
No, she
They,
wouldn't.
they
She
never
wouldn't.
brought it up. So why are you driving
No,
to
they
the
did.
woods as a safe place? Why not just go to your apartment?
It's because of plot armor.
Right.
That's what I'm going to say with it. And it's the same thing when she's out in the woods. I'll be back in 3 hours. She's an EMT. She realized she needs to save the kids. And yet her first instinct is, I'm just going to drop you off your parents and let them deal with it. I've got these superpowers, but your parents are going to deal with it. And she did this multiple times. Well, that's pretty much the exact opposite thing of what an EMT is trained and designed to do. Uh, and then when they're out in the woods, they're running. This reminded me, the scene out there where they're like running through the woods, the CG and everything and how they did it. If you took a really bad version of CW Birds of Prey and smashed it with Twilight, that's what it reminded me of when she was on Edward's back running through the woods and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, this is pathetic. And the girls, of course, don't stick around because the one girl's hungry. That's all she can talk about. Don't make me hangry. You won't like me when I'm hangry, and had to do that multiple times. So apparently one of the Spider Girls, her only superpower is she really wants to eat a lot.
Well, and the other thing about this movie, I meant to say at the beginning of this section, totally forgot, but it's really a bait and switch too. Because when you
Yeah.
watch the trailer, you see the three girls in costumes fighting and doing stuff, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going into Madam Web. You assume it's present day, not 2003, and you just assume that they get their powers and it takes all four of them to beat Ezekiel, and you'll get to see a lot of cool stuff like that. Everything you see in the trailer is literally the dude's dream. And you see it once in the movie in his dream, and he wakes up and he's like, oh, I have this dream every night. I got to kill these three girls before they kill me in the future. In the future, so you're like, that's that? Yes. That is that until the end of the movie. And by the way, no post credit, nothing like that. As soon as the credits roll, get up and leave if you want. Except at the end of the movie, they just do this stupid little girl power thing where it shows, Madam Webb and her suit and the three girls in their costumes, and they're like standing on a rooftop, and it's this dramatic upshot and stuff. And of course, there's a voiceover of Dakota Johnson, and you're just like, who cares? It really gave me the feeling of, and I bet Dennis will agree, it gave me the feeling of the end of Green Lantern when they showed Mark Strong become Sinestro, or become evil Sinestro with the yellow costume and stuff. And you're like, yeah, but there's not going to be a second movie because of all the bad press this one, Green Lantern, already got and stuff. Same with this movie. There's not going to be a second movie.
Yep.
It has shit the bed so bad. If
At
there's a
least-
second movie, it's because Sony has so much cash that they're basically going, screw you guys, we're doing a second movie.
Yeah, so at least the crew that did this also did Morbius, also did Gods of War, none of which are good movies. Although I will say, like with Morbius, Venom, Sony's other movies, you at least looked at this and said they love this movie, they love the characters, they wanted it to succeed, and they tried. This entire film, I was bored. This was almost,
yeah, I got kind of bored too.
And I'm like, I'm leaning back in my chair and I'm like, oh my God, is this done? Well, I got time to go to the bathroom because I know nothing's going to happen here. And seriously, 2 hours, it felt way too long, at just under a 2 hour movie. And nobody cared about this movie. The actresses phoned in their script. They looked at the script and went, wow, this is the worst dialogue we've ever seen in a script. And most of these actresses are very young and they haven't seen many. Now they know what bad scripts look like. And there was no care anywhere in this movie. Sony didn't care. The actresses didn't care. The writers didn't care. Nobody cared about this. The director didn't care. So why should we care? And the problem with this now setting up, Craven is the next one I think that's coming out. And the next Spider-less movie. After seeing this, I don't even give a damn about seeing Craven. I don't want to go see it because I have no desire that they even care at all anymore. And this puts a black eye on Marvel. Not that they don't deserve their own black eyes, but most of the people that I've talked to who've seen it go, wow, this Marvel movie sucked. It's not a Marvel movie, but because of the way that Marvel's hamstringing Sony into it and Sony just not caring, Marvel's also getting a black eye on this. So there's great stuff to go around. Blame everywhere.
Yeah, and I'll say with Craven, it's a different. I mean, yes, it's still Sony, but it's a different creative team and stuff. He'll see it. Trust me, he'll see it.
If I would have known, I don't know if I would have bit the bullet. But you know what we didn't do? We forgot to go look at the scores on our other ones and say it. So I'll do that now while I'm thinking of it. And Rotten Tomatoes. Oh.
I already saw Rotten Tomatoes, unfortunately, before I saw the movie. So
Andy asked me last night, do you want to know? And I'm like, no, I do not. Rotten Tomatoes, critics, 14%. Wow. If I remember right, was it Morbius? Either a 13 or a 15. I might have to look that up. And the audience is giving it a 54. So the audience at least says it sucks, but not as bad. And IMDb, which usually, is another one we like to go to, it is a 3.8.
Yeah, it's just a bad movie. Like Dennis said, there's just so much. Dennis brought this up. Great point. Movie takes place in 2003, 2 years after 9/11. It's in New York City. Madam Webb is, or Dakota Johnson, whatever, when she gets the three girls from the subway to save them, there's a bulletin out looking for her because they think she kidnapped these three girls. Well, she steals a taxi cab and so people won't find the cab. She pulls the license plates off. That doesn't matter. And taxi cabs have ID numbers on them, as big as day. They're all painted with different ID numbers. You don't need the license plates. That, and then she has to take a trip to the Amazon in Peru
She goes
to search for what her mom was looking for and stuff. And she, it just cuts to her telling the girls, I'll be back in a few days. Stay with Uncle Ben, or stay with Ben. Sorry, he's not Uncle Ben yet. And next thing you know, she's on a plane.
No, guys, this is right
There's
after
a pillow out on her.
This was 9/11, just a little over a year after 9/11. And you couldn't even bring the right toothbrush on the plane without getting on there. Everything flagged you. There is no way a person with an APB nationwide for the abduction of 3 girls is getting on a plane. Here's my passport, assuming she had a passport. I'm going to get on the plane. It would have never happened. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, well, she made it to Peru anyway. And we, because plot armor. And that is what most of this movie is. Just like at the end, when she uses her powers, the most boring thing. Okay, guys, I can be it everywhere at once. Oh, stop. Turn left. Okay, now move. Go straight. And I'm just like,
it was just
bad. The worst writing. I mean, guys, we can't belabor this anymore. Hands down, one of the worst overall movies I've ever seen. Absolutely the worst superhero movie. Bring me Green Lantern. Bring me Catwoman. Bring me Elektra. I feel like weekend.
Definitely. But what you do want to do, rush out, and you don't have to rush anywhere. Just go down to the description, click the link, and go sign up for Kor-Drath the Awakening. It's the follow-up to the hit Kor-Drath the Reckoning. By signing up, you'll get notifications when the campaign goes live, and when you sign up and back the book, you'll get this lovely Adriana trading card drawn by me, colored by Kelsey Shannon, and you'll get front of the line shipping, which means when we go into fulfillment, your package will be sent out in that first week. That's what that means. So go check that out. And of course, Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. 64 pages, oversized book, showing off some of my favorite fully pencil pages that up until this point, only the editor or the inker have seen, because I don't post a lot of this stuff on my website. There's just a smattering of it. Now you're going to get a whole book of my full pencils. You can get a digital copy. You can get the Art of Andy Smith sketchbook. Link in the description below. This campaign will be coming down before Kor-Drath launches, so make sure to get on it. When we hit $9,000, I'm going to upgrade the binding to a nice spiral binding so you can lay the book flat for scanning purposes and easier viewing for the pages. Since it is 64, you want this book to be able to lay flat as best as possible. So check that out. And guys, we will be back next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Another great Dennis and Andy show. Next week, we'll see a movie. We don't know what yet. We got to see what's coming out. Got to get this taste out of our mouth of this week's. Ugh. Don't go see it. If it's on TV, my God, unless it's the only thing that you can actually watch because your TV's broken, just turn it off and read a book.
You guys are smart. You can probably find a way to turn this movie into a drinking game. And Razzies, I think you've already got your clear winner, I would hope, for the year.
There you go. Catch you guys later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody. Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. This book features 52 pages of some of my favorite full pencils that I did for other companies over the past 2 decades. The raw pencils as they were seen by the inker, and now you can see them for the first time. This book also comes in a digital format so you can practice your inking in your favorite program. Back it today.